What's up, everybody? This is your boy Metahuman Macaluco, and today we're finally going over something I've been wanting to go over for a while. I know I've posted it on many polls on my YouTube channel. I spoke about it many times. And you've even seen me play a couple of the games. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite top 10 RGG characters. Now, for those who don't know what RGG is, RGG, also known as Ryogo Gotoku, is the studio, a subdivision of Sega that's been making the Yakuza games for well over, I want to say 19 years now, since they first dropped the very first Yakuza back in 2005 for the PlayStation 2. And of course, this has become a very widespread franchise, still kind of underrated despite existing for well over 19 years. I mean, you know, I barely see anyone cosplay as the characters in the South Florida cosplay scene. Maybe if I go out my way and travel. I need a tan, I look horrible. But anyway, let's not get into it. Let's Oh, fun fact. Ryogo Gotoku is actually Japanese for like a dragon. So if you're wondering where they got like a dragon from in their most recent stuff, you know, it's not hard to put two and two together. But anyway, before we head off to go see our boy Slasher Steve, let's start off with number 10. Tatsuo Shinada. Now, Tatsuo Shinada is a former baseball player who joins not only Kiryu, not Nishikiyama, Saejima. I always forget the guy in the purple suit's name, and that's gonna annoy me greatly. But he's the loan shark, and anyway, this is Yakuza 5. He ends up joining them because he is somehow involved in a conspiracy that somehow brings baseball onto it, and that's not the silliest shit you've heard yet. Wait until we go further down this list. Come on, guys, let's go. Alright, guys, we're about to head out, but not before we get into number 9. Number 9 being Daisuke Kuze. Now, if you guys haven't played Yakuza 0, he is actually one of the 3 lieutenants, and he's the one lieutenant that gives Kiryu Kazuma an absolute run for his money, pushes him to his absolute furthest, and this is the guy that makes Kiryu a real, genuine Yakuza. He's the most persistent boss, and honestly, I like his character development more than the other 2 lieutenants, but that's my opinion. Let's head out. Alright, guys, we're on the way to Slasher Steve's. Number 8 on our list is going to be Raiji Goda, the main villain of both Yakuza 2 and Yakuza Kiwami 2. And he was also, in a non-canonical story, a playable character in Yakuza Dead Souls, where he had a cool ass Gatling gun arm thingy. Yeah, but anyway, Raiji Goda is actually Korean. He has no Japanese ties whatsoever, despite being a member of the Omi Alliance, or I'm sorry, Omi Alliance, not Omi Alliance. 2 separate factions. I don't know why they have to give them the same names, but play Yakuza 6 and you'll understand. But yes, he is actually one of the few bosses, just like Daisuke Kuze, to give Kiryu a run for his money, to push Kiryu to his absolute furthest, past his limits. He's a scary ass dude with a big ass scar on his face, and you know, even they never confirmed if he died or not. They never did, but we are to believe that he is no longer with us. But hopefully, we get a new installment in the series that proves otherwise. But I digress. We're moving on to number 7. We finally made it to Slasher Steve's, and we can finally go on to number 7, which is going to be Takayuki Yagami from the Judgement series, Judgement and Lost Judgment. Now, Takayuki Yagami is actually a private detective who actually has to solve multiple mysteries. First one regarding around Yakuza stuff, and then the second one revolving around bullying, out of all things, which is actually kind of wild to me. But the dude's known... He's got some crazy stuff going on. Crane, Tiger, Snake, the fucking regular boxing. Bro, this guy's the shit. I do, however, hope that in the future we get to see him actually cross over with the other characters the same way we saw these next 2 guys on our list. And for our sixth character on the list, it's going to be none other than Toru Higashi. Now, the reason why I like this particular character a lot is because he's a Muay Thai fighter, he's a former Yakuza, and we can see that in the first Judgment game. He ends up actually siding over with his former best friend, Kaito, and in turn, he ends up joining the Yagami Detective Agency. And about, that's like the most base thing you could possibly do as a former criminal. Plus, the guy is like super cool, he's always helping Kaito the most out of all people. Now, and it's funny enough I bring him up because he's going to be number 5 on my list. Masaru Kaito is actually one of the coolest characters in the Judgment series in my most humblest of opinions. The dude is out here wrestling all these other Yakuza guys like it's nothing and had the audacity to call Kiryu Kazuma a gorilla. If you haven't played Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, that's like one of the best sub-stories you can play. And if you haven't also played Lost Judgment's DLC, the Kaito Files, also highly recommend. It gives you more into his backstory and it makes you sympathize with him a little bit more. I love to say it, but Kaito is a warm-hearted gorilla, and we should all appreciate his brohood. And number 4 on our list is none other than Taiga Saejima, the current patriarch of the Saejima clan, and I forgot what his former clan thing was. But anyway, if you played Yakuza 4, he's actually a really tough SOB. He actually went to federal prison for 18 years for single-handedly unaliving 13 members of a rival Yakuza clan. And his boy, Goro Majima, was supposed to be there to help him. The fact that this guy alone could do that, I'm not going to get into the plot twist, you actually have to play the game. But anyway, dude's one of the most goated characters there is, right? Dude's another wrestler like freaking Kaito, just picking dudes up like this and then dropping them on the ground. And if that's not the most base thing you ever seen, I don't know what to tell you. Also play Yakuza 5, that shit's goated.
That's not real wrestling! This is real wrestling! You better take your gay porn out here.
Now, a lot of you are going to be disappointed in me once I bring up this next character, but he is further up the list for a reason. Number 3 is going to have to be Kiryu Kazuma himself, the main protagonist of this entire franchise. He's clearly got a John Wick energy. Dude already went to prison to help his own best friend. If that's not the most noble thing you can do, I don't know what is. Yeah, man, Kiryu Kazuma, he's like the actual epitome of selflessness. He's always putting others first before he puts himself. And it's kind of sad because this dude could have easily just walked away from so many things. But at the end of the day, due to all his selfless acts, he ended up having his family prosper and not really so much himself. And it's sad too, because it's like this is the one character who deserves to see the goodness in everything, despite years of working for a literal criminal organization, or rather multiple on some occasions. But he is the face of the franchise for a reason, other than the next 2 characters I'm gonna bring up. Number 2 on my list, and you've probably seen me cosplay him in some of my previous videos, is none other than Goro Majima, head leader of the Majima clan and the owner of Majima Construction. Hell yeah, dudes. So if you guys don't know who Majima is, he's actually one of the coolest characters. He's actually, I don't want to say a sidekick, but he's definitely a great side character who aids Kiryu on many of his adventures, as well as he's one of the toughest bosses as well. I think it was perfect to have him be the very first boss in Yakuza 3. But aside from that, I wish they would spend more time utilizing him in future games, because he is a fun character to play, especially when he has his little knife. If you guys haven't played any games with Goro Majima as a playable character, which would include Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami 2, and as of right now, Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name. Those are the only 3 I can really think of right now. I haven't played 8 yet, so don't spoil that shit for me yet. Anyways, and before we get into number 1, you guys are going to have to forgive me because I cannot remember all these Japanese names. They're not like the Marvel characters or DC characters where I can think of on the spot. So the honorable mentions on this list include Mayoyoshi Tanamura, Kochi Adachi, Yunamba, Akira Nishikiyama, Shun Akiyama, Fujira Sugira, Jin Kiwana, and the only character from Like a Dragon Ishin, Sakemoto Ryoma. I had to throw one of those guys in there. And the reason why I couldn't add Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star is because even though his game is made by RGG, that's still its own property. But anyways, our number one character is the number one character of my personal favorite number one character of this entire franchise so far has to be none other than Ichiban Kasuga. Now, Ichiban Kasuga first started in Yakuza 7, the first of the Like a Dragon series. This dude is honestly the epitome of fun. He's actually a little more, how do I put this? Relatable. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier with Kiryu is in fact the face of the franchise, and he's been in so many of the games so far. But the thing about Ichiban is that when you play as Ichiban, you get a sense of, wow, I get what this guy is going through. He's actually a lot more fun. He's actually someone I'd like to have a beer with or smoke a blunt with, either or. You know, him being a nerd and actually loving, and I mean loving, the Dragon Quest series makes it all the more relatable, especially considering that he sees himself as the hero of his own life. And I think for all of us, that's something we should aspire to do and look into ourselves to do. Be the hero of our own life. Why do you think I started this whole channel? But anyway, if you guys haven't done so, I really recommend you guys play this game series. There is going to be a live action TV show coming October 24th. And speaking of serious events, guys, I cannot emphasize enough. August 11th, this Sunday, I'm going to be at Wildfire Lounge for my birthday bash. Alright, save the date if you're local, check it out. Alright, flyers right here. And I want to give a major shout out to Slasher Steve for helping me with this project. He will most likely be there himself, I'm hoping. But anyways, guys, yeah, check out that Chucky Cup, the G Fuel. We're not sponsored by them, so I can actually talk shit if I really wanted to, but I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, guys, this is your boy Metahuman Macaluco. I'm Audi50. Thank you so much for the support. And check out the merch store whenever you have a chance. Teespring. They're literally in every single description, my dudes. Anyways, like I said, this is your boy Metahuman out.